There comes a moment in every life, sometimes as a whisper, sometimes as a storm, when something ancient stirs within. It is not ambition, it is not desire, it is something deeper, older, a sense that you were meant for something you cannot quite name. This feeling does not arise from ego, but from the soul's memory of why it came into this world. It is the call to destiny. This call is not loud. It rarely announces itself with trumpets or grand signs. Instead, it echoes in quiet restlessness, in the feeling that the life you are living is smaller than the life that is possible. It may speak to you in childhood dreams, in late-night thoughts, or in the ache you feel when witnessing injustice or beauty. It is a sacred discomfort, the soul's way of reminding you that you are not here by accident. You did not create this call. It was placed within you, like a seed in the dark soil, waiting for the right season to awaken. And when it does not ask politely. It does not ask for your permission. It simply begins to pull, subtly, persistently, guiding you toward a path you do not yet understand, but instinctively recognize. This is destiny, not in the rigid sense of fate, but in the deeper truth that your life is part of a larger pattern, one that was set into motion long before you were born. You are not a passive player. You are a thread in a divine tapestry woven with intention, and even when you resist the call, it waits. It does not abandon you. It returns again and again because it knows you are already chosen. Beneath the surface of who you think you are, beyond your name, your roles, your fears, there exists a deeper self. This self is not shaped by the world. It remembers the world before memory. It does not speak in words, but in symbols, instincts, and sudden clarity. While the conscious mind debates and hesitates, the deep self simply knows. It knows what draws you, what repels you, what feels like home and what feels like exile. This knowing is not logical, but it is true. There are moments in life when something within you recognizes what the outer self cannot explain. A person, a place, a path, it feels strangely familiar, as though you've met before, as though it was waiting for you. That is the deep self responding. It does not argue, it does not rationalize, it resonates. This self cannot be silenced by noise or distracted by performance. Even when you deny it, ignore it, or try to outrun it, it remains quiet, patient, eternal. It waits beneath the masks and the expectations, whispering the same message. You already know. And it's right. Somewhere within you, you already know who you are meant to become. You already know the steps you are afraid to take. Because before the world told you who to be, you were already becoming. To live from the deep self is not to reject the outer world, but to align it with the inner world. It is to remember that your choices are not just reactions, they are responses to something sacred within. The deep self does not guess, it remembers. And what it remembers is this: you were never lost, you were only forgetting. You are not here by accident. Your existence is not a product of randomness, not a fleeting result of chance or coincidence. There is a rhythm to the universe, a hidden architecture beneath all things, and your life is part of that design. The shape of hence the fire in your questions, the ache in your heart, none of it is random. You were shaped with intention, placed here with purpose, and marked with meaning long before you understood the weight of your own presence. Look at the patterns in nature, the symmetry of leaves, the timing of seasons, the constellations that return year after year. Nothing is wasted, nothing is arbitrary. In the same way, your journey, with all its twists, delays, and detours, is unfolding within a larger harmony. The people you meet, the obstacles you face, even the wounds you carry, are woven into a deeper story that is still being told. When you doubt your worth, when you question why you are here, or whether you matter, remember this: the very breath in your lungs, is evidence that you were chosen to be part of this world, not as a filler, not as background, but as a vital piece in a mosaic far greater than you can see. You don't need to understand every piece of it, but you must stop believing that you are accidental. Every gift you've been given, every instinct you've followed, every time your soul whispered yes while the world screamed no, that was the design moving through you. There is a place only you can fill, a note only you can sing, and a story only you can live. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to embody it. Across time and culture, stories have been told of a figure who is set apart, often from birth, called to a path that is not ordinary. The chosen one. We see this figure in myths, in legends, in ancient texts and modern tales alike. This is not coincidence. It is the language of the unconscious revealing itself. The archetype of the chosen one lives in all of us because it reflects a truth that is buried beneath the surface of our lives, that we too have been chosen. But being chosen does not mean being exalted or superior. It means being claimed by a purpose, a path, a task that only you can fulfill. This archetype is not about glory, it is about transformation. It often begins with separation, with feeling different, misunderstood, or out of place. These are not signs of rejection, they are signs of awakening. The chosen are rarely chosen for ease. They are chosen for depth. There is something within you that knows you are meant for more, not more in the material sense, but more in meaning. You may have tried to deny it, to silence it, to blend in, but the archetype cannot be erased. It waits within the soul like a seed waits beneath winter soil, dormant but never dead. And when the time comes, life begins to arrange itself to awaken it. Challenges arrive not to punish you, but to refine you. People enter your path to mirror something within you that you have forgotten. The world itself begins to conspire not around your comfort, but around your becoming. You do not need to wear a crown or carry a sword to be the chosen one. You only need to listen to that ancient voice within that says, dreams are not just the mind's leftovers or meaningless flickers in the dark. They are messages, deep, symbolic, and often prophetic, sent from a part of you that lives beyond language and beyond time. While your waking self is busy navigating logic and expectations, your dreaming self is in dialogue with the soul. In dreams, the unconscious speaks. It does not use plain speech, but instead chooses the language of images, emotions, and symbols. It tells you what the waking world cannot. It reveals what you are afraid to see and reminds you of what you already know. When you dream of falling, of flying, of being lost or found, your inner world is trying to show you something real. Perhaps about your fear of failure, your longing for freedom, or your search for identity. The people who appear in your dreams, even those long gone, are not random characters. They are pieces of your psyche dressed in familiar faces, carrying truths too delicate to be delivered in daylight. Even nightmares have value. They are not punishments. They are wake-up calls. They point to what you have buried, what you are, avoiding, what still needs to be faced and healed. Sometimes a dream will revisit you again and again until you finally listen. Sometimes a single dream will change the course of your life. It may arrive in a moment of confusion or pain, bearing a fragment of the map you didn't know you needed. When the world outside is too loud, too fast, your dreams become sacred spaces where clarity returns. Do not dismiss them. Do not rush past them. Write them down. Sit with them. Ask what they are trying to say, because hidden in their strange images and impossible stories is something sacred, your soul, reminding you that you are not lost. You are in the middle of remembering. Dreams are not distractions. They are messengers from the part of you that has never forgotten that you were chosen. Fear is not the enemy, it is the gatekeeper. It stands at the threshold of every meaningful journey, every deep transformation, every act of becoming. When fear rises, it is not always a warning to turn back. It is often a sign that you are standing at the edge of something sacred. The closer you get to your true path, the louder fear becomes, not because you are going the wrong way, but because you are finally nearing the place where you will change. Fear protects the door to the unknown. It knows that beyond that door lies risk, loss, and the stripping away of who you were. But it also knows that beyond that door is freedom, purpose, and the truth of who you really are. Fear does not show up when you are safe in your comfort zone. It appears when you are close to growth, when you are standing before something that matters. That is why it feels so strong. That is why it trembles in your chest and clouds your thoughts. It knows that if you walk through, the old version of you will not survive. Many people mistake fear for a final answer. They stop at its gate and turn around thinking it means no. But fear is not a no. It is a challenge. It asks, how badly do you want this? Are you ready to leave behind the familiar? It tests your readiness, not your worth. Because what waits on the other side is not given lightly. It must be earned through courage. To walk through fear is to cross into a new realm of self, and every time you do, something ancient in you awakens. You remember, in that moment of trembling and choosing, that fear was never your jailer. It was your initiation. It did not block your path. It marked the beginning of it. The wounds you carry are not flaws to be hidden or erased. They are keys, not just reminders of pain, but openings to a deeper truth. Each wound holds within it a message, a lesson, a doorway to something you could not have reached without it. The moments that broke you were not the end of your story. They were the chisels shaping the vessel that would one day hold your purpose. It is through the fracture that the light enters. It is through the ache that awareness grows. You may wish your pain had never come, and that is human. But when you look closely, you'll find that your compassion was born in your suffering, your wisdom was carved in your loss, and your strength was forged in the fire you thought would consume you. Your wounds have made you sensitive to others, in a way no teaching ever could. They have trained your eyes to see where others are bleeding. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is medicine. The world often tells us to hide what hurts, to smile through the damage. But the truth is, your power lives in the places you've healed, and even more so, in the places still healing. Your scars are not signs that you were defeated. They are symbols that you survived, that you kept walking, that something within you could not be extinguished. And perhaps most sacred of all, the same wound that caused your greatest pain may be the very thing that leads you to your calling. The experiences that seem to disqualify you may actually be what qualify you. You are not chosen in spite of your wounds. You are chosen through them. They are not detours, they are maps. And when you honor them, when you stop hiding from them, you realize there are moments in life when things align in ways that defy logic, when a chance encounter delivers the exact message you needed, when a book falls into your hands at the perfect time, when a thought crosses your mind just as the world reflects it back to you. These are not coincidences. These are synchronicities, subtle alignments between your inner world and the outer world, revealing that something deeper is at work. These moments are not accidents, they are signs. They are the universe's quiet way of saying, you are on the path. Synchronicity is not something you can force or predict. It happens when you begin to live with presence, when you start listening to more than just reason, and when your inner life begins to harmonize with your outer actions. It's as if the world begins to respond to your soul's frequency, echoing back the symbols, people, and circumstances that confirm your direction. These signs may be small, a repeated number, a song that plays just when you're thinking of someone, a conversation overheard at the exact moment you needed clarity, but their impact is deep. They awaken something ancient in you, something that remembers this is how truth feels. Synchronicity does not speak loudly, it whispers. But if you are paying attention, those whispers become a language of guidance, comfort, and affirmation. When you are walking in alignment with who you are meant to become, synchronicities increase. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you become more open. You begin to see the connections that were always there. You start trusting the invisible threads that hold meaning, even when the surface appears uncertain. You are not alone on your journey. The world is not indifferent to your becoming. It is communicating, responding, guiding. And when you learn to follow these subtle cues, not with fear but with curiosity, you discover a truth that cannot. There is a part of you that you try to hide, the thoughts you fear, the impulses you judge, the emotions you bury. This is the shadow. It is not evil, it is not your enemy. It is simply the part of you that has been pushed into darkness because it did not fit the image you were taught to present. But the presence of the shadow does not mean you are broken. It means you are whole. And paradoxically, it is the shadow that confirms the light. You would not recognize fear if courage were not possible. You would not feel shame if you didn't carry a sense of inner dignity. Every time the shadow appears, through anger, jealousy, self-doubt, or despair, it is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to show you where the work is, where the healing is, where your power still waits to be claimed. The shadow is a mirror, and in it we see the contrast that reveals our potential. You are not meant to destroy your shadow. You are meant to understand it, to listen to it, and eventually to integrate it. Light without shadow is blinding, but when the two coexist, a deeper vision emerges. True strength is not the denial of darkness, but the ability to carry light into it. When you acknowledge the parts of yourself you once rejected, you begin to transform. You become less rigid, more real. You stop pretending to be perfect and start embodying something far more powerful: authenticity. The journey of becoming who you were meant to be requires you to turn toward the shadow, not away from it. Because in facing it, you discover that the light you've been seeking was never separate from the darkness. It was waiting to be revealed through it. The shadow does not cancel the light. It proves that the light is there, and that light is you. To awaken is to give up something. It is to release the familiar, the comfortable, the life you once thought you wanted, in exchange for something that calls you deeper, something that asks you to become more. This is not a sacrifice that comes with regret or bitterness. It is the kind of sacrifice that arises from the recognition that what you have been holding on to no longer serves who you are meant to become. Awakening requires you to surrender parts of yourself, the versions of you that were shaped by fear, by others' expectations, by comfort. It is a shedding of skins, a breaking open of what once held you in place. The price of awakening is never paid in material things alone. It is paid in moments of vulnerability, in the courage to face the unknown, in the willingness to step into the mystery of who you are becoming without knowing all the answers. You will leave behind illusions of control, certainty, and security. These are the false comforts that keep you from stepping into your true power. To awaken is to choose truth over comfort, authenticity over approval, growth over familiarity. This sacrifice often feels like loss, and at times it is painful. But the losses are not permanent. They are the shedding of what no longer aligns with your soul's path. You may have to let go of relationships, old dreams, or even identities that no longer serve you. What you gain in return is not just a new way of seeing the world. It is a new way of being in it. The sacrifice of the old self gives birth to the new self, one that is closer to your essence, one that is more attuned to your purpose. In this way, sacrifice is not something to fear. It is an offering to the larger process of becoming. It is a recognition that what you are being called to is far greater than anything you could have imagined, and that the journey demands a deep surrender. But in that surrender, you discover a strength that is not your own, a grace that is not earned, and a peace that transcends understanding. Awakening is not a single moment, but a continuous offering of the self, a continual sacred sacrifice to the life you were always meant to live. They were never just wounds, they were keys. There is a part of you that you try to hide, the thoughts you fear, the impulses you judge, the emotions you bury. This is the shadow. It is not evil. It is not your enemy. It is simply the part of you that has been pushed into darkness because it did not fit the image you were taught to present. But the presence of the shadow does not mean you are broken. It means you are whole. And paradoxically, it is the shadow that confirms the light. You would not recognize fear if courage were not possible. You would not feel shame if you didn't carry a sense of inner dignity. Every time the shadow appears, through anger, jealousy, self-doubt or despair, it is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to show you where the work is, where the healing is, where your power still waits to be claimed. The shadow is a mirror, and in it we see the contrast that reveals our potential. You are not meant to destroy your shadow. You are meant to understand it, to listen to it, and eventually to integrate it. Light without shadow is blinding, but when the two coexist, a deeper vision emerges. True strength is not the denial of darkness, but the ability to carry light into it. When you acknowledge the parts of yourself you once rejected, you begin to transform. You become less rigid, more real. You stop pretending to be perfect and start embodying something far more powerful: authenticity. The journey of becoming who you were meant to be requires you to turn toward the shadow, not away from it, because in facing it, you discover that the light you've been seeking was never separate from the darkness. It was waiting to be revealed through it. The shadow does not cancel the light. It proves that the light is there, and that light is you. To awaken is to give up something. It is to release the familiar, the comfortable, the life you once thought you wanted, in exchange for something that calls you deeper, something that asks you to become more. This is not a sacrifice that comes with regret or bitterness. It is the kind of sacrifice that arises from the recognition that what you have been holding on to no longer serves who you are meant to become. Awakening requires you to surrender parts of yourself, the versions of you that were shaped by fear, by others' expectations, by comfort. It is a shedding of skins, a breaking open of what once held you in place. The price of awakening is never paid in material things alone. It is paid in moments of vulnerability, in the courage to face the unknown, in the willingness to step into the mystery of who you are becoming without knowing all the answers. You will leave behind illusions of control, certainty, and security. These are the false comforts that keep you from stepping into your true power. To awaken is to choose truth over comfort, authenticity over approval, growth over familiarity. This sacrifice often feels like loss, and at times it is painful. But the losses are not permanent. They are the shedding of what no longer aligns with your soul's path. You may have to let go of relationships, old dreams, or even identities that no longer serve you. What you gain in return is not just a new way of seeing the world, it is a new way of being in it. The sacrifice of the old self gives birth to the new self, one that is closer to your essence, one that is more attuned to your purpose. In this way, sacrifice is not something to fear. It is an offering to the larger process of becoming. It is a recognition that what you are being called to is far greater than anything you could have imagined, and that the journey demands a deep surrender. But in that surrender, you discover a strength that is not your own, a grace that is not earned, and a peace that transcends understanding. Awakening is not a single moment, but a continuous offering of the self, a continual sacred sacrifice to the life you were always meant to live. The world is not whole without you. It's easy to believe that you are just a small part, a fleeting presence in the vast expanse of existence, but the truth is much greater. You are a piece of the puzzle that is needed for the picture to make sense. The world is shaped not only by the grand gestures of history, but also by the quiet contributions of those who dare to live authentically. Every time you show up as yourself, fully and unapologetically, you create ripples that spread further than you can see, affecting people, places, and moments in ways you may never fully understand. You may not always feel significant, but the impact of your unique presence cannot be underestimated. There are aspects of the world that only you can touch, ways of speaking, creating, loving, and being that are yours alone to offer. The spaces you occupy are waiting for you to step into them, and by doing so, you give others permission to do the same. The courage to be yourself becomes a silent invitation for others to shed their masks and be authentic too. The world needs the full expression of who you are, the parts of you that are tender, vulnerable, and raw, as much as the parts that are strong, capable, and confident. You are not here to fit into a mold. You are here to create one, and in that creation, the world finds itself enriched. When you share your truth, your talents, and your love, you contribute to the larger web of humanity, making it richer and more complete. In every interaction, in every choice, you influence the world. Sometimes it is in small, private ways, in how you treat a stranger or support a friend. Sometimes it is in the work you do, the art you create, the words you speak. But every moment, every act of living fully is an offering to the world, reminding it that it is incomplete without your voice, your vision, your heart. You may never know the full extent of your impact, but that does not diminish its importance. The world needs you because only you bring what you bring. Only you can live your unique story with its lessons, its joys, its challenges. The world needs you because when you are true to yourself, you contribute to something greater than just your own life. You contribute to the collective awakening, to the unfolding of something that is, in many ways, beyond what any one of us can fully grasp. You are not here by accident. You are here because the world needs exactly what you have to offer. You have already been chosen. Long before you were born, before you took your first steps, before you understood what it meant to dream, there was a purpose that sought you out. It didn't wait for you to find it. It didn't require you to be perfect or fully formed. It chose you just as you are, with all your imperfections, doubts, and fears. The world may try to convince you that you need to prove your worth, that you must earn your place. But deep down, your soul knows the truth. You are not here by chance. You are here because you have already been chosen for something greater than you may yet understand. This is not about destiny in the rigid, predestined sense. It is not about following a fixed path laid out before you. It is about the recognition that your life has meaning, that you are part of a story much larger than the one you see with your eyes. The very fact that you are alive, that you have the capacity to dream, to feel, to create, is evidence that you were called into being with intention. Every challenge you have faced, every person you have met, every loss you have experienced, these are not random. They are part of the preparation, part of the unfolding of the purpose that has already been set in motion for you. In moments of doubt, you may wonder if you are enough, if you are ready, if you are worthy of the path that is before you. But the truth is, you are already more than enough. You have already been equipped with everything you need to fulfill your purpose, even if you don't yet know what that looks like. The very fact that you are drawn to something, that something stirs within you and calls you forward, is evidence that you have already been chosen. You don't need to wait for permission or approval. The calling has already been placed inside you, and it will not leave. It is easy to get distracted by the noise of the world, by the opinions of others, by the expectations placed on you. But the truth remains, you have been chosen not by anyone outside of you, but by the deepest part of yourself, by the very essence of life. This choice is not dependent on your achievements or your failures. It is based on something more profound, a deep, unshakable truth, that you are here for a reason, that your existence holds value, that you are part of a larger unfolding that is as much yours as it is the world's. Embrace the knowing that you have already been chosen. Trust that the journey is not about finding your purpose. It is about uncovering it, remembering it, stepping into it with all the courage and authenticity you can muster. You do not need to be someone else to fulfill your purpose. You are already who you need to be. The path is waiting for you, and it has always been waiting because you, exactly as you are, have already been chosen.